everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Accessa Tech Talks. I'm your host, Radu, and today we'll be talking about something that touches nearly every modern company, especially after the pandemic, when the whole world experienced an acceleration when it comes to digitalization. A lot of people across the globe are using day by day intensively the application teams from Microsoft, but not only. They're also using other solutions and applications from this big tech company. And in this episode, what we aim to do is to find out how to get the most value from the Microsoft 365 investment as a company. Why? Because with rising license costs, with rising complexity of the tools themselves, a lot of companies, a lot of businesses are losing money without even knowing it. To help us unpack this, I'm joined today by Jiří Janků, Principal Consultant at Alvao. We'll talk about savings, about blind spots, about how to do your operations or how to make your operations leaner. Jiří, welcome to our show. And before getting into it, can you maybe share with us in some words what is your company doing, what's your role there, and what your focus is right now in this company?
Yeah, definitely. Nice to be here. So Alvo is on the market for actually 25 years. We started with IT asset management, and later on we added also what we call service desk, the second product for ticketing workflows and so on. So currently we have the full ITSM suite, which is well integrated. We have customers that are using just the ITM platform or the ticketing part only, but at the end, most of them end up with both using the synergies they are there. My role in the company is the onboarding consultant. I've been working here for 13 years actually, this very month. So we can help our customers, provide a single point of contact for their users, do the workflows, processes, really great fit for the Microsoft ecosystem, and the same for the IT asset management platform to manage all tangible and also intangible assets, as we will discuss today, to really map everything the company owns, where it is, who owns it, and whether potentially there could be some cost saved on it.
I guess you've experienced a lot during these years and you've learned a lot. And speaking of this, I'm curious why Microsoft 365 and why right now? Is there a reason why optimizations in this space are a big deal today?
So as you already noted in your intro, a lot of change during COVID. And that's not only like people started communicate via Teams, but also got a lot of hardware that took to their homes and so on. So basically, the customers lost track on this. So I think saving on what you own is always an issue, and also great selling point to actually sell our software based on that, because you buy something that will save you money. So just tracking what the customers or users have and whether potentially they can release it, or maybe even like they need something they don't have. It's also necessary.
Based on our experience so far, how are companies acting inefficiently when it comes to asset management or even Microsoft 365 in particular? Maybe can you share with us some examples about that?
Yeah, definitely. What we see really often, it's surprisingly often, and one would say that once the company gets bigger, the processes are much better managed, but it's not actually true in a lot of instances. What we see often is that the offboarding of users or employees is misprocessed or not processed at all. So what it means in practice, someone leaves the organization and you don't know what hardware to collect back. Maybe they have 2 monitors, 1 laptop. Maybe you just rely on what they bring, and that's not good. And it also poses security risk just to keep the device to them, not only financial. And from the software perspective, this is even worse, because not only you are paying for something that for people that are not working for you anymore, but they can actually still log in, still use the system. So they are basically in a way still work for you.
And I guess such situations happen, right?
Yeah, they do. They do. It's chaotic with these processes, especially the onboarding and offboarding of employees. This is a complex process, a lot of stakeholders. IT is only one of them, so it's not actually owned by anyone in the company, and the whole organization is just losing money and posing a security risk and compliance risk.
IT asset management helps companies better match licenses to their actual usage. How does this happen?
Yeah, in reality, what we do when implementing our IT asset management toolset, we just identify during the what we call data strategy and input strategy session or workshops, we identify all data sources we might potentially use. So there could be different Excel sheets, definitely Entra ID in June. We are able to deploy our own agent detect software, scan the network. So basically, gather everything that the customer owns, provide a clear structure where it is, who owns it, and then the audit can happen. Even when doing so, you can identify a lot of discrepancies in your data quality. Like there are users without department, different or users that should be disabled but they are not. So only this original load of assets and people creates surprises for a customer, and that's literally just the beginning before the actually cleaning and data cleansing happens. And one of the data sources we use is just syncing Microsoft 365 licenses from the portal using API, and then providing visual representation of what the customer owns, and having specific negative metrics, basically what we can say whether that user is optimized or not. So one of those key metrics that I already described is often, really red, is that licensed and also disabled user at the same time. So those are people that already left the organization, but somehow forgot there is no process to actually disable them. So that's the most risk, not only the cost that you are still paying for them. So that's just one of the six. The second one is, for example, that the people still works for you, but it's inactive. So they don't use the software. So maybe they haven't logged into Power BI for a while. Maybe we detect that they don't have Office installed as a desktop application on their operating system. They are just using the web version. So in this way, you are able to downgrade them to a lower Microsoft tier.
So in other words, based on their usage, you can also optimize the licenses, so you don't over deliver in this regard.
Yeah, to spot the difference between consumed and also what is in use.
Interesting. I mean, I've seen an article or a study, I guess, that said that up to 40% of software as a service licenses often go unused. And I also know, talking to my colleagues about this, about our partnership, that you recently saved for a customer around £7,000 a year only by optimizing the usage of the licenses. I'm curious to find out more about that particular case.
Yeah, that was really exciting when we click the refresh button and this amount appeared. Yeah, it is a British company of 1,000 seat or so, and or our report provided like actual breakdown, like what costs could be saved. And the biggest portion of this was that they still had like 80 users that are, not disabled, but not active. So this is what we identified, or the customer just at looking at the names, just identified these are people that are not working for us anymore.
Okay.
So that was really easy to disable these and save the money. And then the second biggest portion was double licensing of specific products. So for example, if you have someone with E5 license, Power BI Pro license is already included. So we can spot some of these double licenses that only one of them is necessary. So you can just release the Power BI and still save like, I don't know, €10 a month or so. So when you just multiply it by that number of users, you get to the final number.
And are you doing this through your solutions, through your application, or through a certain process that you follow in order to audit the situation?
Yeah. First, we import, or the customer needs to follow the process just to click some consent to Microsoft to allow our Alvo or their Alvo instance to read this information from the Microsoft portal. Then it gets saved into actual like attributes of the user object in our system, and then there is a Power BI report put on top of that, so that actually it's not like one off thing that it's running really. You can, that first initial load, that's always the biggest. You can clean up, release licenses, and then you should be able to release this. And actually, you shouldn't just react on what you are seeing there. That whole thing should be ideally trigger for getting the process in place to show the management like, here, this is what we've identified. This cannot happen. We are not compliant. This is security risk, not only cost issue. So that ideally the trigger should be to get the process for the offboarding and onboarding in place, so that there is the inefficiencies doesn't happen in the first place.
So in other words, you identify some risks, some cost leakages, also some risks that these they bring, but you also suggest some improvements, right? Some actions to be made to solve the situation.
Yeah, definitely. I think each organization needs to standardize, but it's difficult question, like how do I do that? What we see in practice, or we are able to provide a customer during our implementation, and there is actually a lot of homework to be done by the customer, because we are just showing them their data. We can recommend, say, what we see on the market, but in reality it's still their workplace. We don't know what job profiles they have. But if we are able together to set up specific, as I already said, like job profiles, so there is a new employee being onboarding, please tell us like what position should they have, and then somewhere on the back end we are able to then optimize and automate, like put the user, like create the user in Entra in the first place, and then put him or her to the right groups, which in turn provide the license. Then you have specific job profiles, and nothing is different or exceptional. And the same happens at the end, like when you put the offboarding process in place and say, okay, John Doe is leaving the organization, we will just disable the user, put him out of the groups, therefore releasing the license, so that licensing topic is not like something you need to focus on, because the process is already in place.
So you optimize by standardizing them based on these personas in a way, right? And then by automating the whole offboarding process at the end to make sure everything is checked accordingly.
Yeah,
right?
that's a
Mm.
great saying. I think that
Mm.
was like one of the ITIL guiding principles is optimize and automate. And the process is actually first standardize, because sometimes someone wants to automate something, but it's but when you have no rules, how is this happening manually? It's you automate chaos. That's not possible.
Yeah.
So first you really need to open like Excel sheet, bring all together to see like, okay, these are the profiles we have, and maybe there still be some exceptions. There is a space for that. You can create some extra permissions if needed, but if you standardize, you can then optimize.
Back to my study or article, I was surprised to see up to 40% of licenses getting at the point they're unused. Um, so I guess the situation occurs pretty often. And I'm curious, what type of companies have these challenges? Is it happening on an enterprise level, or is it rather something happening for companies that are smaller or medium sized?
Yeah, I think the bigger the company, the bigger the challenge.
Okay.
Our like the really smallest customers of ours are like 100 seats. There could
Mm-hmm.
be maybe only one IT person, which does the work, and also the onboarding and offboarding doesn't happen as often.
Yeah.
So the potential for cost saving is not usually in percentage is not that big, but
Mm-hmm.
as you get bigger, the amount gets bigger as well. And like from our experience, I would say like typically we are able to save like 20-25% from what I saw, but that really depends.
On the
If you
size of the
are
company, right? Mm-hmm.
if the process is in place already, there is no issue. It's potential that the report will just say, okay, you are like good to go, and
I
it's
understand.
all great already. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've never seen that yet.
Yeah, so it makes sense. Actually, you can optimize and automate. The bigger the scale of the company, the more you have room to do that. But you mentioned that there are companies that are at a pretty large scale, but still aren't that mature when it comes to processes.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, because the ecosystem is the digital ecosystem, and the complexity and variability of like different job profiles are also growing when the customer gets bigger. And also you might have different like projects that are just temporary. So you get a license for, I don't know, Microsoft project just for 3 months, but actually, you still have it after 2 years. Or additional issue there is like something potentially like me, like working in a company for a lot of years, maybe, or change the departments or positions. And in reality, what happens? You just add more licenses to the people, and not doing the audit. Like, okay, he's not working in marketing anymore, so maybe he shouldn't have that one. We should change it, release this one, and add this one.
You mentioned, apart from the costs, you mentioned also the risks on the IT security or compliance. Can you detail these risks? What kind of risks are there? Maybe some examples.
Yeah, I think also like a general rule, the biggest security risk comes from people and from actually current employees.
Mm-hmm.
And if some employee is no longer your employee, and in fact he or she still is the employee because the permissions are there, they can still log into the systems. The risk of like data leakage or somehow exploiting that potential that you keep it or kept it there is really big. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm, let's say, an IT manager, and I'm listening to this podcast episode. what is the best way for me to convince my executive team that there is a real value in investing in license and asset optimization?
Yeah, I think you should run Alvo trial. We will, load a report with you, show you the numbers, and the numbers speaks for themselves. I think, it's always difficult to persuade management about something, but this is actually, compliance issue. It's a cost issue, and it's like the two of them both at the same time. So from all the like great ideas they hear, this actually shouldn't be that difficult to just show them, hey, we can save 7,000 a year. Is it a good thing or bad thing?
So I think this diagnosis that you do at the beginning is really powerful because you can show and tell.
Yeah.
We've talked about the past, about the present. I'm also curious a bit about the future. What trends do you see shaping the future of software and asset management?
Well, what we seen or are seeing for the past years, everything is, switching to software as a service. So there is less and less of the issue like someone is using something they are not eligible to. So if you don't have the Teams license, well, you cannot open it. So that's this issue has been lowered during the years. So I think what still is the issue, and this is not only about the process, but more about like the culture in the organization, is definitely the shadow IT. So I already described that, like, for example, marketing department, or like some teams have more chance to purchase their own subscription somewhere, so IT doesn't know about it.
Okay.
So always keeping track of what softwares are being used within your organization, even though no one, IT doesn't, it's no longer necessary to install it, deploy it, but potentially if the software breaks something, it's IT, it's running on IT stuff, so they should be still responsible for that. So this whole culture thing, whether we will provide this software, so not everyone is using something else for the same thing, and so on. To have the transparency.
Transparency and traceability, in a way. Anything else you would like to share with us that we haven't covered so far?
Yeah, I think we are seeing great trends in the automation in general, like the Power Automate, for example. It can do so much. We already spoke about it, offboarding and offboarding, like creating that user, putting it to the right groups. But another example, which is also not only cost but about security risk at the same time, is, for example, when you lose your laptop, there is should be like BitLocker running there. So ideally there shouldn't be a security issue, but still we are able to just easily remote wipe that laptop just by calling the Power Automate of Intune. And so it's just like hardware lost, not a security risk.
Good. Jiří, thank you very much for being here with us today. Thank you for sharing the stage with me. And I'm also excited about our partnership between Accessa and Alvao. Excited of what will come. This wraps up our today's conversation on smarter Microsoft 365 optimization. Big thanks also to the Alvao team as well for sharing not just the tools but also real world strategies and examples to save money and reduce multiple risks. If you guys in the audience enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to Accessa Tech Talks on BrightTalk and follow us on YouTube and LinkedIn. And join us next time when we'll continue exploring the present, but also the future of digital transformation with real voices from the field. Thank you. Stay tuned. See you soon. Bye.